While the Western Front froze into trenches and mud, the war in the East moved very differently. Here, there were no endless trench lines stretching from sea to sea. Instead, vast distances, massive armies, and collapsing empires defined the conflict. This was the Eastern Front, and it would decide the fate of nations.
History is not just the past. It is the bridge to who we are today.
In the East, the battlefield stretched for thousands of kilometers, from the Baltic Sea to the Black Sea. The Russian Empire faced powerful enemies, Germany to the west and Austria-Hungary to the south. Unlike the professional armies of the West, Russia relied on sheer numbers. Millions of soldiers were mobilized. Many were poorly trained. Many lacked proper weapons. Some were even sent to the front, with orders to pick up rifles from fallen comrades. In August 1914, Russia moved faster than anyone expected. Two massive Russian armies invaded East Prussia, hoping to crush Germany before it could fully react. For a moment, it looked like the gamble might work, but Germany responded with ruthless efficiency. At the Battle of Tannenberg, German generals Paul von Hindenburg and Erich Ludendorff used intercepted Russian radio messages to track enemy movements. They surrounded one of the Russian armies near Tannenberg. What followed was a catastrophe. Over 90,000 Russian soldiers were captured. Tens of thousands more were killed or wounded. An entire army was destroyed in just a few days. It was one of the most decisive victories of the war, and it shattered the myth of Russian military strength. While Germany succeeded in the north, Austria-Hungary struggled in the south. Its multi-ethnic army faced Russia in Galicia and Serbia in the Balkans. Command was chaotic, supply lines were weak, and morale was fragile. Defeats piled up quickly. By the end of 1914, Austria-Hungary was barely holding together. Without German support, the empire might have collapsed before the war truly began. Unlike the static Western Front, the Eastern Front remained fluid. Armies advanced and retreated across vast territories. Cities changed hands again and again. Civilians fled in the millions, and entire regions were devastated. But behind the front lines, something even more dangerous was happening. The Russian Empire was breaking from within. The war placed an unbearable strain on Russia. Food shortages spread, factories failed, and railways collapsed under pressure. Millions died, not just from bullets, but from hunger, disease, and exhaustion. Faith in the Tsar was fading. By 1916, unrest was everywhere. The war meant to unite the empire was tearing it apart. As empires struggled in Europe, the conflict spread far beyond the continent. The Ottoman Empire entered the war, opening new fronts in the Middle East and the Caucasus. Fighting erupted in Africa, in Asia. Japan seized German territories in the Pacific. This was no longer just a European war. It was becoming a global one. New weapons brought new horrors. Machine guns mowed down massed infantry. Heavy artillery reshaped landscapes. Poison gas made its deadly debut. But in the East, retreat was often the only defense. Entire armies vanished into the vastness of the land. By 1917, the Russian Empire stood on the brink of collapse. Revolution loomed. Germany, exhausted but determined, saw an opportunity. If the East could be secured, everything could be focused on the West, but the cost was already staggering. Millions were dead, empires were crumbling, and the war was far from over. The Eastern Front did not end in trenches, it ended in revolution. A revolution that would redraw borders, destroy ancient dynasties, and give birth to a new world order. And as Russia fell into chaos, another power across the Atlantic was watching closely. The next phase of the war would bring new nations, new armies, and a final, devastating struggle. That is where our story continues. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe for the next part of our series.